and welcome to ABC Bullion's 360 weekly wrap. My name is Crystal Thivios and I'm joined once again by our resident precious metals expert, Nick Frappel, Global General Manager at ABC Bullion.
Hey, Crystal.
Hi. There was exciting action in gold this week, finally.
Yes.
Can you tell us more?
Yeah, it was a really, really crucial week in the sense that the decline continued under the same pressures as before, rising bond yields. The really important thing was that there was, I thought there was an important support level, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement of that move up from March last year to the August highs. That was at 1697, and it held. So it's 1697 or 1691, and it held. Price just went below it briefly, but it closed above on Friday, and this is a really important level to consolidate around. And I'm quite confident now that above that level we can see some kind of recovery to about 1759, maybe 1780 levels. Just initially, that's the sort of the shorter term outlook.
Yep.
Of course, we've got that resistance now at 1760 from the weekly Ichimoku cloud, had been support before, now turned resistance. So it's really held an important level, despite the fact that the dollar's rallying, dollar index is rallying, and also that yields are still, pushing higher.
Yeah.
And that's it's interesting. If you look at the Bloomberg economic survey. The latest one, the average growth, or the average take on growth for 2021 in America, 5.5% they're expecting through the year. That would be, if America does that, that would be the fastest year of growth since 1984.
Wow.
Of course, it's all to play out, but it's a really, really optimistic view of this cycle, and that's why, of course, bonds. I thought they were going to come back a little bit just because of where they went to the week before last. And what happened was they made this real high and then plunged back and closed weekly. So I thought, okay, maybe it'll just cycle lower a little bit. And I mentioned that in the conversation that we had, I think, 2 weeks ago. But the last week, the bonds just went higher and higher. And, it's not surprising when you've got such an optimistic outlook.
Fair enough. So silver, following on, couldn't really avoid the sell-off.
It couldn't, no.
Experience.
And silver had done pretty well, for the last few weeks. And that the fact that it managed to defy weakness in gold, made me obviously relatively more optimistic about silver. Silver had spent the last 5 weeks closing above the weekly standard line and above, trend line and so on. So it looked good. But last week it closed below the weekly standard line, below that sort of trend line up from the lows. I think it's going to test the top of the weekly cloud, high 23 level, maybe a little bit lower possibly, but it should find support in that weekly cloud. And then I expect it to resume that. It's still in the intermediate and sort of medium and term outlook. The chart's telling us it's trending high. It hasn't broken that trend. So I remain relatively positive about silver.
That's good.
Yeah, just about, and saying that, we were talking earlier about how much selling there'd been. It'd been quite a chunk. So, the real flows out there. So, CME managed money, I think we saw a reduction in longs of 17 million. Shorts went up by about 21, so it's a big downvote for silver from that area.
Yeah.
And then silver ETFs, I think 17 million as well. So it's like 57 million in total. So 57 million ounces outflow over the course of, not over the course of last week because the dates don't quite match up, but the CME up until Tuesday the 2nd of March, and then the ETFs through last week. Quite a lot of selling, but for now it's still in that uptrend, and the indicators sort of show it's still kind of in that uptrend above the weekly cloud. So let's see what happens there.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And finally, what's happening with the Aussie dollar?
Aussie's had a little bit of weakness, and partly that's because where it rallied up to was almost a test of the highs, the 2018 highs. The market rejected that level and said, okay, we're not going to go through that, at least not the first time.
Yeah.
It's come back a little bit lower despite really good Chinese growth figures and so on. It's almost gone back. Well, it's gone back to like 76.50. I think the 76 is really, really decent support. What you're really seeing is strength in the dollar index, the DXY. DXY made a high last week of 92.20. I think it should go to 92.40, 92.60. It's kind of converging on that.
Continuing to rise.
Yeah, so continuing strength in the broad dollar index, and that's really where, like the Aussie is kind of slightly on the defensive, but it's got its eye on that 2018 high. Obviously rejected that the first time, but dollar index is really what's driving this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Welcome.
And thank you all for tuning in once again. For more from ABC Bullion 360, please follow us on our YouTube channel or our socials. Until next time, happy trading at abcbullion.com.au. Thank you.